This is ABTV, Animal Bites Television. For animal lovers, by animal lovers.
I'm here at California Zoological Supply. Now, I've been breeding snakes for 25 years and actually been selling to this place for about that long. The funny thing is, I've never been to any place that's a big wholesaler / importer. So this is a real treat for me. And what I have in store for you today is looking at some really gorgeous pythons. Take a look at this Aru green tree python. Now that is absolutely gorgeous. My name is Brian Barczyk. I'm no zoologist, just a guy with a passion for animals. And that passion often takes me on animal adventures around the world. This week, I'll travel to Southern California to California Zoological Supplies. You're watching Snake Bites. So back to the green tree pythons. These are being farmed in all of the little islands all over Indonesia, and each island has a little bit different locality. Now, what's amazing about these guys is all of them, in the wild at least as adults, turn this beautiful green color. Some have a little more white, some have no white, some have yellow, and some even have blue in them, which is really amazing. Now, this is a sub-adult, adult-colored Aru Island green tree python. And then this would be a neighboring island here. This is what they call a sarong. And you can see it's completely different than the Aru. It doesn't have all of that white. It has more yellow and it has some of the blue freckling coming through it. Now that is a really cool animal. But what's really cool about green tree pythons is the fact that they're not born green. They actually go through a complete change of phase. And I want to show you what they look like when they're first hatched typically. The majority of green tree pythons are hatched yellow, just like this. And what that really is all about is the fact that when they're babies, they're going to be a little bit lower to the ground because they're going to mainly eat lizards, so they need to be yellow to mix in with the flowering. So when they start to change, they start to look like this. They're actually yellow and green mottled, and that is just one sick animal. Typically that change can be as early as 2 or 3 months, and sometimes as long as a year before they're going to start to get that green color. But you can just really look at that. Isn't that cool? You see that yellow baby color and all that green starts going through. The amazing thing is sometimes they can change within one shed. That's pretty cool, isn't it? But now there's one other phase of green tree python. Believe it or not, they're not all yellow as babies. Some of them are red and completely gorgeous. They look more like the emerald tree boas that again are born red and as they get older turn to their green color. But this animal right here is pretty much a baby green tree python of a red phase. And again, this is a great example of an animal that is just starting to turn into its adult color. You're starting to see the yellows and even greens starting to come out. Now, green tree pythons don't necessarily make great pets because you can see with this little guy here, he's pretty feisty and they have really big teeth, but they make for a great display animal. And if you're getting a captive born, or in this case, a captive farmed animal, they typically do fantastic. Well, this is certainly not something that I was expecting to find at Cal Zoo. It's a Madagascan tree boa, or a Sanzinia madagascariensis. And this is much like the green tree python, where they're born red and then as they get older, they turn green. And these guys are just absolutely gorgeous. They only have about 6 or 8 babies and they're not produced in captivity very often. One of my all-time favorite snakes, and it's just really cool to run across them here at a wholesaler. So I'm here with Ty from Cal Zoo. We've known each other for probably, I don't know, about 20 years, but this is the first time I've had a chance to come visit you. So first off, tell me a little bit about how long Cal Zoo's been around.
We've actually been in business for 38 years.
38
Since 1977. Our primary business is retail pet stores. We don't sell to the public.
Okay.
We sell to zoos and public aquariums.
Okay.
And then we also do trades with zoos also.
Okay, gotcha. And so where's your animals? I mean, you do import stuff?
Yeah, we do import, we do field collected animals, we do farm bred animals, and we do, majority is captive bred in the United States. So we're gonna buy from a breeder who specializes in veils.
Right.
Someone specializes in aerofrogs or ball pythons, multiple suppliers.
Ooh, look at these guys here. I absolutely love these guys. And this one's a really pink one. Sticking with the Madagascan animals, this is a Dumeril Boas. Now these guys will get about 10 foot long. The first time I ever bred them, I had 22 babies. As a matter of fact, it was the second live litter that I ever produced as a snake breeder, and it was really rare to produce Dumerils back then, so it was quite a feat. It kind of got me started when it comes to snake breeding, so I always have a really soft spot in my heart for Dumeril Boas. Man, just look at the pattern on that animal. It's like living art. I just love it. And again, it's not a mutation. That's the way they look completely coming out of the wild. So that's really cool. Let's see what we have here. Whew, look at these little guys. Remember, I've had quite a few run-ins with blood pythons and almost got nailed in the face the other day. So it's pretty cool to see a little baby blood python. Oh my gosh, how cool. Again, they're really cool when they're babies. When they get bigger, sometimes they can be a little bit of a handful. But the truth is, a lot of them can be extremely tame, and I've always loved them. I remember seeing a picture of a baby blood python when I was about 12 years old, and I've always loved them to death ever since. So cool. Let's go see what else we can find. They actually have a pretty cool little Colubrid section here, and this little bugger really caught my eye. Take a look at how gorgeous that is. This is an alternaphase gray-banded king snake from West Texas, and it's just always been a really cool snake to me. One of the early snakes that I bred, and every one of them is just a little bit different. They're very polymorphic. They remind me of little banded rock rattlesnakes, which makes them so cool. Unfortunately, they sometimes are lizard eaters as babies and be a little bit finicky, but still, the effort is so worth it because they're just that cool. Oh, these are little prehistoric monsters here. Take a look at these guys. Woohoo! Now these are a mountain horn lizard, or a little forest dragon. These are kind of endemic to all over Southeast Asia. This particular ones are from Vietnam. They're definitely very arboreal animals, and they hide extremely well as a camouflage. As a matter of fact, they remind me a little bit of some lizards I've caught in the past in the wild, where they'll actually hide on a tree, and as you walk up to them, they just slowly move to the other side of the tree, and you don't even realize that they're there. And of course, they're gonna come down to the ground and just nail all kinds of insects, bugs of any sort. And the males are, woo, they're lightning fast too. Woohoo! Come on, little buddy. Uh-oh. We're gonna go out and get this one. Come on. Come on, guys. Oh, we got him. We don't want to let anything loose. The males are going to have these nice big spines, and they have that really cool thing on top of their eye. Females aren't quite as beautiful, but still, that's one cool lizard. It almost got away. Oh man, this is a treat, guys. Take a look at these little suckers. Woo! Come on, little guy. Oh, they're fast. Oh my gosh. You gotta really be on your feet with these guys. Normally they'll just kind of perch up on your finger like this, but not today. Woo! Come on, little guys. Now listen, these are Indonesian frill dragons. And they're giving me a handful today. These are a smaller species of the frillies. Really, you think when you see those big frills that pop out almost like big dinosaurs, you think of the Australian ones that get pretty large, and I've actually caught them before in the wild. This is the smaller version, which is Indonesian, but the way they use these frills, they actually pop them out just like this. You can see these flaps on their face, and they'll push that out. Now that's a deterrent to make them look larger. Come on, guy. To make them look larger for predators so that they don't get attacked. And these are an extremely arboreal creature for sure. And like I said, normally they'll just kind of hang up on your hand just like that. These guys are typically need pretty high humidity, and they're definitely an insectivore. And wow, it's really cool. But they'll also, the thing that's neat about these, much like the bearded dragons, these guys will eat vegetables as well. As a matter of fact, it's a big part of their diet, so it's very important. But man, they are so cool. I just love them. I wish he would frill up for us. And there he goes, back in his cage. Let's see if we can get another one out here real quick. Now, typically the Indo ones don't tend to frill nearly as much, but they're super, super cool little guys, huh? Take a look. Have a look at these guys. Now, I tell you, these might be a challenge to keep from running away from me. Whew. These are what they call white-line geckos, or sometimes even known as skunk geckos. And you can certainly see why they're called white-line geckos. And they're lightning quick, and they love to jump. They're really similar to tokay geckos. They're endemic to Southeast Asia. And look at that beautiful white line on them. This guy's gonna give me a run for my money. But again, you don't want to grab him by the tail, because if you grab them by the tail, they're gonna drop that tail. That's their defense mechanism. And you can certainly see they climb like you cannot believe, right? Look at this. And they certainly jump. As a matter of fact, they have amazing climbing ability and they can stick on almost anything. Take a look at this. I'm just gonna stick it right there. But if I let that sit too long, it is gonna run away so lightning quick. And look at those really cool bulbous eyes. Obviously a heavily nocturnal animal. And these are insectivores. And unlike their tokay cousins, they're not nearly as mean, because when you pick a tokay up like this, you're gonna get bit for sure. These guys are pretty darn cool. And like most geckos, they're gonna have 2 eggs at a time, and they're hard little eggs, and they're gonna lay them on the bridge of a tree. And when they walk away from them and they adhere to that tree. But they're really cool animals, huh? I'm having a great time chasing these lizards around today. All right, buddy, go back in.
All right, Brian, here we are in our one of our upper levels. This is where we keep lizards, primarily water dragons.
Okay, and I noticed these tubs are a little bit interesting. Are they specific? I mean, what was the thought behind
these? Are actually from the orchard industry, and
okay.
if they were totally square, all the animals would pile in the corner.
Yep.
But because they're curved in the corners, the animals won't.
Exactly.
So that way they utilize the whole volume of the space.
And again, you don't want those animals piling up because they're going to get stressed and ultimately, not do as well. This way, they're nicely dispersed out.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's a perfect situation. So now
this
these
is
are
a
cool.
really cool lizard.
Yeah, tell me about these guys.
These are Sailfin lizards from Indonesia. And let's see if I'm not too old to grab one. These are little babies, and these are all from the farms.
Wow.
So they'll get a nice green hue to them, and then as they grow, the males will get a beautiful sail. Yeah, and they've got webbed feet, so they can run on water, which is really cool. Yeah. This is my favorites. We don't get them that often.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No.
And these are captive hatch farms?
Yeah, these are from farms in Indonesia.
Very cool.
I'm going to bring up one more. This one you can see. Look at this one's called. This is probably going to be a boy.
Yeah, that thing is.
Yeah, you can't tell yet, but.
Now, what's the care on these guys?
Just like water dragons, just a woodland setup, good airflow. Crickets, they eat a lot, and they're really mellow.
Oh, I don't know. This is a little box of terror to me. Look at this, guys. Woo! I almost freaked out picking them up. These are all little rose-haired tarantulas. Take a look at that. There is a gazillion little tarantulas in there. Oh my gosh, it's freaking me out a little bit. And these guys just came in, obviously in a shipment, and they're about to go out. So it's pretty cool to see how, I mean, there's gotta be, I don't know, 1,000 tarantulas in here or something like that. And these all come in these little containers, but then they take them from here and they're gonna ship them out into larger containers, or they're gonna set them up into homes that they can get out. But wow, I've never seen so many tarantulas before. Ooh. It's a little freaky, to be honest with you. All right, guys, you may not know this, but you guys know that I'm afraid of spiders and other things. I am terrified of these little monkeys here, too. These are hermit crabs, and these are endemic. These particular ones are endemic to Vietnam, but they also range in Florida. Oh my gosh, they are so creepy to me. But these are really a very, very popular pet. And they're pretty easy to care for. You just basically keep them on sand, and they do like a little bit of water, kind of a little salty, brackish water. And these guys are pretty adept climbers, so you have to be careful. If you put a tree in a cage, they'll climb right out. But there's just, I know, it's just something that's just so creepy about it. But what's really cool is that places like Cal Zoo here, believe it or not, have these custom shells that are actually hand painted in little designs. This one has little googly eyes on it, and these are made over in Indonesia. Now these guys come in with this normal shell, just like you'd find in the wild, and they put these really cool colored shells in there, and usually within a day or two, this little guy here will climb out of this old kind of ugly apartment and climb into this cool little cat with googly eyes. I'm gonna put this thing down before I pass out. Oh my gosh, it's so creepy, but in a cool way. You won't find a much more peculiar animal than this. This is a Madagascan giant leaf-tailed gecko, or a Uroplates fimbriatus. Look at those huge eyes that they have, and you can tell it almost looks like moss on a tree. Unbelievable camouflage. And of course you have that tail. This happens to be going into shed, but that tail looks just like a leaf. I tell you what, if you were walking through the jungles of Madagascar, it would be almost impossible to sight something like this. And these guys are great jumpers as well, so you have to really be careful when you're handling, because they'll jump right on your head if you're not careful. And they'll eat some bugs like crickets and so like that, but they also eat the nectar of fruits. so you can even feed him baby food if you'd like. But just take a look at that face. That is one unusual looking animal. And it's so amazing when it comes to its camouflage. Now this guy's only about half grown. They'll get at least twice the size. That's a beautiful animal. So what we have here is a little bit of a cooler room, whereas the rest of the warehouse is maybe 85 degrees. In here, it's probably 76, 77 degrees. And of course, the species that need to be kept a lot cooler end up residing in here. Things like tomato frogs, or these guys over here, which are one of my all-time favorite chameleons. I remember when I was little seeing these guys. Oh my gosh, what amazing animals. Take a look at this little bugger here. Whew. Now that is a beautiful animal, and he's got a little bit of an attitude too. This is a Jackson's chameleon. These are from Africa, and of course the males get that really cool, actually series of horns, 3 horns as a whole. You can see he's puffing up, and that's just a defense mechanism. They're gonna puff up, those horns are there, and again, that's basically just for show, and they're gonna combat 2 males together, and whoever's the dominant male is gonna have the opportunity to breed that female. And look at him showing that mouth like, don't mess with me. Now these guys are live-bearing chameleons, which are pretty cool. Unlike a lot of the panthers and veil chameleons that are egg layers, these guys will pop out little tiny, cool chameleons. And believe it or not, although they're endemic to Africa, these guys have become invasive in Hawaii, believe it or not. So all over Hawaii, you can find these cool Jackson's chameleons. And you know what's really cool? Believe it or not, I'm tattooing a Jackson's chameleon on my African animal sleeve. So it's a pleasure to hold something so cool. These are absolutely gorgeous lizards. Take a look at these guys. These are banana split agamas, indigenous to China. These guys are typically a little bit of a smaller lizard, but this particular ones are giants endemic to the Yunnan province of China. So they get about 30 or 40% larger. And again, they're a really hardy lizard that's relatively inexpensive, and you can see extremely colorful. Now, of course, they're arboreal. You can see how it's kind of climbing up, and the males are the ones that have this beautiful green color. The females are still really nice, but they don't have that vibrant color. These are complete insectivores, so they're going to eat mainly dusted crickets on that. And of course, these guys need to be kept a little bit cooler because most stuff that's from northern China is going to need that cooler temperatures. So these aren't going to thrive at 82 or 85 degrees, maybe in the upper 70s, but man, these are such a cool little agama. All right, guys, one of my all-time favorite frogs here. Take a look at that little cute face. These are what they call Surinam toads, or Pipa toads. And obviously they look like a little leaf, right? I mean, what amazing camouflage. You figure if you were down in the Amazon, you came across leaf litter like this, can you barely tell the difference? And that's in captivity. Can you imagine in murky water? What an amazing ability for camouflage. But what really sets these guys apart is their reproductive nature. It's really interesting. Now the males won't actually call like a normal frog. They're going to make a clicking noise, and that actually attracts the females. The females will then release anywhere from 3 to 10 eggs. The male will then fertilize them and then kind of help position them onto the back of the female, and through a massaging it actually sinks into the female's skin, and over the course of several days they almost form like a honeycomb type look to them. During that time, they're going to actually grow from little tiny eggs into tadpoles, into fully developed frogs within the female's back. And then they kind of just pop out as little froglets and just leave the nest 100%. But that nest is actually on the female's back, in her skin. That's a pretty amazing animal. These are Turkish yellow-spotted newts, and there's actually 2 species of them. This happens to be the rarer of the 2. And just look at how gorgeous that little guy is. I mean, just that beautiful yellow dotting on him. Now, this is just a young animal here. It's going to probably get about 2.5 times the size, max out at about 5 inches, and that thing is unbelievably gorgeous. They're pretty easy to take care of, quite simply. You just want to put water in it, obviously. Running water is going to help them tremendously, and then feed them things like red worms, blackworms, and tubiflex, and they are super cool. Of course, you're not going to see too many Turkish yellow-spotted newts around. Let me ask you, I mean, 38 years is a long time. I mean, what's the future? Just more of the same?
Yeah, more of the same. We're real happy where we're at.
Right.
I don't want another warehouse. We're happy where we are. We've got a great customer base, and we don't want to spread out too thin. We really want to take care of who we're dealing with right now.
I tell you, just spending my first day at an importer and wholesaler, what an amazing experience it was. To be surrounded by so many cool, well-kept animals was a dream come true. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I have. For this week's Reptile Report, we'll be highlighting Morelia pythons. Go ahead and check out the URL down below or click on the link in the description. So there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. What an amazing time visiting California Zoological Supply. And as always, I was Facebooking and tweeting my way through it. So make sure to follow me over at SnakeBytesTV as well as on Instagram at SnakeBytes.tv. Until next week, you've been watching Snake Bites.
Hi, I'm Peter Birch, an Aussie bloke who loves wildlife. My respect for nature started when I was a young boy in rural New South Wales. Since then, it's exploded into an obsession. New episodes only on AnimalBytesTV.